Hey friends, today's video is on the topic of the biggest flaw I find in the March 5th PvP update. The whole entire Crucible has been overhauled, and it feels tangibly different despite some of the top performing options, like let's say Titan, Ignas Hammer, and Conditional Finality being at the top. Even though it's the same meta, my agency to leverage a skill gap on players is just so much better. So therefore I like it more, even though we're using the exact same things. That doesn't mean I enjoy Bubble or Well, dropping plus 40 HP barricades, sitting in rifts, spamming healing, using Ignas Hammer to shoot kitchen appliances that bends the bullet and doesn't really feel like gun skill. All of the obvious outliers I don't really like, but they're so much more tolerable than in the previous sandbox. The real fatal flaw of this update I have mentioned in my previous Checkmate First Impressions, but it got a little bit worse as players understood what they needed to do to win. The fatal flaw I'm talking about is going into your inventory and switching off an empty special weapon to double primary. When you hear that, do not jump to conclusions. I am not suggesting lock loadouts unless that is the only solution that is realistic. I'm not a game dev, so I don't know. All I'm going to say is from a player perspective, the game state feels so unreadable when I have no idea if the opponent who went around the cover is switching in their menu from a hand cannon to an SMG and keeping their special ammo if they're empty on special ammo, or if they're going double primary, and I constantly am spending more time in the menu checking what my opponents are switching to than I am playing the game sometimes in a competitive setting. Oh, power ammo's about to drop? Better switch to Black Talon in my inventory. Oh, the opponent has a super. Let me switch to a Vorpal Weapon, Dead Man's Tale. Oh, they popped a bubble. Let me swap to Cerberus or Sweet Business or something like that. Oh, I noticed the guy in the enemy team's using a scout rifle. We're down 2 rounds. Let's also switch to a scout rifle. No, you should see the map and the mode and know exactly what weapon to bring to round out your team. You do not need to swap at every given opportunity to give yourself an advantage, because trust me, when your opponent does it back, you'll realize the game state boils down to you playing less FPS game as you're both in the menu, and you're probably going to be thinking to yourself that your opponent is very cringe, and you're probably right. But if they want to win bad enough, they don't care. They will do whatever it takes to win. And that's not the fault of the player, that is the fault of the devs for making this system and not offering a solution. So what are some potential solutions? I don't know what's realistic. All I know is in Season 1, we had a primary, and a heavy. And the heavy consisted, yes, of rockets and whatnot, but it also consisted of shotgun, fusion, and sniper. I think they could go back to that route and maybe have a 3rd or 4th ammo system, a tertiary ammo system, that lets you pull shotgun, sniper, fusion, so that you can realistically run double primary, so you're more involved in all the fights that are going on in the map, therefore you won't have to go into your menu to swap things. Obviously this is also a balancing part of the sandbox, where like Bubble and Well are out of control, so I have to run Conditional Finality to have a chance to counter those supers, which by the way isn't a problem with Conditional Finality, it's a problem with Bubble and Well, but that's just one example. Ultimately, there needs to be some solution that lets me have double primary agency over the map, so I have to pick a proper weapon for the proper engagement range and make some trade-offs, because people aren't making trade-offs, they're just going into their menu. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and if you can come up with any solutions. Again, we're not game devs, we don't know what is realistic, but I just know it feels terrible to play. Thanks for listening, friends. I will see you in the next one.